In 3, 2, 1. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Tuesday, the 12th day of October, 2021. This is a regular caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. In effort to adhere to social distancing protocols and best practices imposed by the city and state authorities, the City of Jersey City has canceled all public meetings and closed non-essential services as of March 16, 2020 until further notice. As a result, this council caucus will be held virtually as a video conference with public access. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my computer is showing 4:04 p.m. May I have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley. Not here yet.
Not here yet.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
She's here, I know.
She's there.
She's there. I see her.
Right.
Okay. I will mark her present. Councilperson Baggiano.
Here.
Councilperson Soleil will be a little late. Councilperson Solomon. Here. Councilperson Robinson. Councilperson Robinson, are you here?
Jermaine?
I do see
like
him.
frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Yeah.
I'm going to mark him here, but he is here, so.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
might have
yeah.
to sign. There he is. Councilman Robinson, can you hear us? Looks like he's frozen again. Okay. Councilperson Lavaro?
I'm frozen as well, but I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, and I see Jermaine giving me the Councilman Jermaine giving me a thumbs up, so that's good.
I'm gonna exit
Councilperson
briefly.
Lavaro.
I'm frozen.
We can hear you, but you may want to just come back in.
Yep, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, very good. Councilperson Rivera
Here.
and Council President Waterman.
Here.
Okay, and Councilperson Soleil is here.
Yep.
At 4:06 p.m. So that would make us with 8 council members present at 4:06 p.m. All right, if Councilperson Ridley arrives a little late, if she can just text me and let me know what time she arrives, and I'll mark her present for the record. All right, Council President, would you like me to take it from the top?
Yes, please, Sean.
No problem. All righty, just so we are all on the same page. In addition, at the time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, October 8th, 2021 at 4:35 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. All righty. Moving on to our first reading ordinances. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 21-069, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-9, Stopped Intersections, to designate Erie Street and 4th Street and Erie Street and 5th Street as a multi-way stop control. Any questions or comments on this ordinance? We have our traffic and engineering specialist, Andrew Vicio, here to answer any questions that the council may have.
Any
Okay.
question? Go ahead.
Hearing none. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 21-070 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designated reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Any questions or comments on this ordinance? Okay,
Hey,
I
Sean,
see-
Councilwoman Ridley, I'm here.
Okay, Councilperson Ridley, I'll mark you present at 4:08 p.m. So at 4:08 p.m., we have all 9 council members present. Thank you, Councilperson Ridley. Okay, hearing no questions, we're going to move on to the second reading ordinances.
Can you hear me?
Is that Councilperson Robinson? Councilperson Robinson, was that you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yes. Do you have a question on one of the first reading ordinances? Seems like he's taken his show on the road there. Oh, going down the staircase. All right. He's definitely got skills because we can still see his face.
Yeah, I guess he's probably trying to get a signal.
Yeah. But I will give him the credit. You know, I know he's a Jet fan, but we can use him on the Giants.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any questions on the first readings?
No.
Okay, very good. All right. On to the second reading ordinances. Item 4.1, City Ordinance 21-066, an ordinance to regulate the installment of new wireless utility poles and equipment by amending the code of the City of Jersey City, Chapter 296, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Rights of Way. Any questions or comments on this ordinance?
Clerk, this is Councilman Solomon. We received a few comments. One was a small comment late last week, but I got a couple more this week from some of the wireless companies. So I'm going to kind of put them together and send them out to the council, just so you are aware of them, and then we can discuss whether these amendments make sense or not. I haven't had a chance to review them because I just got them this morning.
No problem, Councilman. Are these amendments possibly a substantial, any of the amendments that are being suggest substantial changes?
I think potentially I'll send them to the law department to review because again, I just got them this morning.
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, if you shoot those over, we'll take a look, Councilman.
Sure. Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else have any questions or comments on item 4.1? Ready? Item 4.2, City Ordinance 21-067, an ordinance amending Chapter 257-6 Property Transfers and Chapter 332 Vehicles and Traffic of the Jersey City Municipal Code, Article 7 Metered Parking, Article 8 Permit Parking of the Jersey City Municipal Code. Any questions or comments on this ordinance? Okay, hearing none. On to item 4.3, City Ordinance 21-068, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designated reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Any questions or comments on this ordinance? All right, hearing none. We have our request for hearing. Right now, I believe we're up to 3 speakers. The agenda that went out on Friday had 2. And we have our petitions and communications, items 6.1 through 6.20. Any questions or comments? Okay, any questions or comments on Office of Communications 7.1 through 7.3? Okay, any questions or comments on Report of Directors 8.1 through 8.5? Right, we'll have our claims, and they're there in its entirety. And then we're on to our resolutions. First resolution, item 10.1, City Resolution 21-690 is a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Christine Rayside Fielding. Item 10.2, City Resolution 21-691 is a resolution authorizing the risk manager to issue a certificate of insurance for Journal Square 2 Urban Renewal LLC. Item 10.3, City Resolution 21-692 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Jersey City designating the properties known as Block 1 1602, Lot 1, and Block 11304, Lot 1, and Block 11204, Lots 1 and 24, Block 11211, Lot 1, and Block 11210, Lot 1, and Block 9906, Lot 1, and Block 10901, Lots 92, 93, 108, 109, 111, 118, 120, 121, 122, 123, and Block 8401, Lots 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15, and Block 6902, Lots 1 through 5, 8, 35 on the tax map of the City of Jersey City, State of New Jersey, as an area in need of redevelopment, non-condemnation area without the powers of eminent domain pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law NJSA 40A semicolon 12A-1 exec.
Okay. Somebody's here?
Yeah, could someone from city planning just walk us through this for a minute?
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tanya.
Yes, fantastic. So, the planning board, heard a study, which was authorized by City Council to study, this block, and then, there's a sister, resolution, for one that actually incorporates condemnation into the parcels. And this is the result of the planning board, recommendation, which is to declare the area, in need of designation. Now, to be clear, there are no plans attached to this. This is just going through the legal criteria within the local redevelopment housing law and determining which of the criteria is met based on the study of the property, whether that be through physical, title, and et cetera. So the importance of this is, I'm sure everybody's really well aware of at this point, is to connect these properties, to tie them together to one seamless plan for when the embankment property is actually transferred and sold legally and properly, so that the upzoning or the connection to the bonus to the parkland is what we're all really familiar with, is connected to any kind of plan and zoning that would be written into Block 1.
Okay. Any questions?
Just
So,
Director,
so Tanya, this is Councilman Lavaro. So this establishes it as an area in need of redevelopment without condemnation, or did you say there was a sister resolution?
Yeah. Yep. So within the night of the planning board, it was actually presented as one study. The majority of it was without condemnation, which is mainly the properties that are entitled with Conrail. There is one property that we refer to as Block 7, which is the end of 6th Street, and it kind of tees off at Division. And there are a lot of different title issues with it. So that property is the property that's being studied and designated with condemnation.
Okay, so part of the embankment is designated with condemnation, and that's only one lot, I guess, and then the others
That's
are
correct.
not.
Just that one block, because there's a lot of issues with subdivision and titles.
Okay, and is that a separate resolution? Am I missing? Because I thought
Yeah.
It's a separate resolution.
which one is that? Because I must have missed that.
No, it has to be added, if I'm correct. Is that the one you speaking about, Tanya?
Yep, it's not I'm not 100% sure. There were some issues with uploading. It disappeared at some point, but it had gone through all of the approvals, and it was a sister resolution to this one.
Okay, so is it the
Yeah.
It's fairly identical. The study itself is identical. The difference that you would see would be within the planning board resolution.
So it has all the approvals, Councilman. I think the issue here was that because this one and the other one is so similar, it was treated as a duplicate, and I think that it wasn't processed properly. So we just worked through the revamping it, basically pulling it out of the deleted file and bringing it back for the council consideration.
Okay. To that end, then, what can you just speak again to the properties? What's the distinction between properties that are declared in condemnation versus those not declared in?
Specifically eminent domain, the power to use eminent domain. And they have to be distinct because they're legal noticing requirements that are separate, that were sent to the owner multiple times actually, during the planning board hearing, and then of course for tonight, or rather tomorrow.
What I mean by that is what criteria went into determining that property was condemnable versus the others?
Again, that was the title issue. So in the past, Steve Hyman had done a subdivision swap with Bogdan, who's the property owner, and it has put the site in a lot of different issues onto who owns what, was the subdivision actually done? And that's one of the prime criteria for being able to use eminent domain, is when there's too many legal issues that need to be kind of untied from each other.
We don't have to Dunkin'. Okay, that's fine. Because normally they have the Spanish coffee, they didn't have it.
I ask if the law department, to Tanya's statement there with regard to one of the reasons for declaring it condemnable because of the untying the legal issues. Can you provide me the statute, and if it's in the document, if you can point me to the specific references, just so I'm familiar with the distinction between what's condemnable and what's not condemnable, and the rationale for that.
Okay, well, I mean,
Okay. Yeah, I can send you the statute.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
Okay. Someone else? Okay,
Can I
no one
ask-
else.
Sorry, can I ask a question of, I don't know if it's the law department or to Tanya. So I know that there was the planning board heard it, and that Conrail, and to be clear, I'm not, I just want to understand, because we did get the letter from Conrail and their attorneys. What were the arguments that they're making at the planning board hearing? That what arguments did they make, I assume, to try to oppose this?
their arguments were attacking our planner's study, basically challenging his use of the different criteria. I have to pull up the resume. I'm having a little bit of a hard time doing both screens on my computer right now. But it is all within the uploaded documents. There's the study, the resolution. So it is all there, but primarily, I believe Conrail's issue with the designation, of course, is all of the other legal issues that have not been fully settled yet, which have nothing to do with this, honestly.
Are they arguing that they own the property still, or how are they?
That is the abandonment. That has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Oh, no, go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah. Okay,
Will that resolution be added on for Wednesday as a late item?
it's a pair.
Yeah, Councilman, we're gonna upload it again and disseminate it to the council for review.
Right.
As Tanya specified, it's identical with just the clause of condemnation versus non-condemnation.
Yes, unfortunately, it's a very lengthy title with a lot of numbers.
Okay.
Just for the technical portion, it would still technically be a late item because the agenda went out without it. Unfortunately, we will have to add it as a late item and vote on it in order to add it. Just for the record and just to keep everything consistent with all the others, even though it was kind of lost in the shuffle in iCompass. Does anybody else have any questions for Tanya? Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go forward, unless we are on your item, if you can mute your screen turn off your screen and mute your mic until you're called upon, just like you don't see me. So we can just have the council on the screen. I appreciate it. Alrighty, next item is 10.4, City Resolution 21-693 is a resolution ratifying a month-to-month extension not to exceed 4 months, effective September 1st, 2021, for a professional services contract awarded to CarePoint Medical Group to provide primary care physician services for the City of Jersey City's Workers' Compensation Program.
Thank you, Sean. This is an annual renewal that we're going through the RFP process with our primary care, and that expired in September. And we're finishing the review process and potentially bringing a new contract to the next council meeting. This resolution would just give us the gap between September 1st until the next council meeting for payments.
Is it just 8? Okay, questions? All right, Sean.
Okay. Item 10.5, Resolution 21-694 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the purchase and delivery of accessories for portable radios under state contract for the Department of Public Safety, Communications and Information Technology Center. I believe Mr. Baker sent out an email with regards to the resolutions. I'm not sure if this was one of them or not.
Is anybody here though?
He was invited to the meeting.
He was, right?
Yes.
Is he on? Because last time he said he was on, nobody, is he on?
I'm trying to look now, Council Perez. Just
Yeah.
bear with me.
Okay.
So can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I don't see him on, but I do see the email. It says the above, talking about this specific resolution that we're on is for the need of batteries, microphones, and portables, replacement microphones for fire and police dispatch and repair parts. As you know, this represents life safety issues for our first responders. That's what his email
Just
said.
batteries. Yeah. He said
All
just
the
batteries, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty. If anyone has any questions, I guess we can always email him, but I believe his email explained that resolution.
Mhm.
Item 10.6, Resolution 21-695 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing submission of the fiscal year 2022 Community Service Block Grant application to New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Any
Who's
questions or
here?
comments?
Anybody?
We have,
This is Councilman Navarro.
Yep.
Samantha is here.
Somebody explain it.
Samantha is here
Okay, go ahead, Samantha.
and Carmen is here as well.
Samantha, can you just explain where the money is being allocated to?
Just give us 1 second, Councilman. I know some of us had some difficulties in the beginning of the meeting. I'm just making sure that Samantha can hear us. Just bear with us. Council members, can we come back to this resolution?
Yes, Sean.
Yeah. we
Yes.
can.
Okay, let's do that. And I think the next one kind of coincides with this one, which is item 10.7, resolution 21-696,
Okay,
resolution authorizing execution of a mortgage subordination agreement. She'll talk on that as well. So let's move
Okay.
on to 10.8. As soon as she gets back on, we'll
okay.
defer back to those results if you don't mind. I appreciate it.
Sean, I believe 9 as well is
Right, it seemed like 9 too is
Okay.
reading.
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate it. We'll get right back to them. So we'll move on to 10.10, which is a resolution awarding a negotiated contract pursuant to NJSA 48, Semicolon 11.5 to Red Rabbit LLC for the Congregate Nutrition Program.
Can't get them on. We have a problem.
I don't know
Mhm.
if Ed has made it on, but this particular contract is because we went out to bid twice during COVID to feed our seniors. The first time we went out to bid, we got 0 bids returned. The second time we went out to bid, we got a cost that was 3 times what we currently pay for our food program. This program is cost shared by the city of Jersey City with a grant from the county, and there was no way we could go into a year-long contract with the dollars that we had for this year from our county grants. So we, based on the purchasing law, after the bid is rejected twice, we can negotiate the cost with anyone that would like to take a look at the specs again. Ofer Cohen, our manager at the Congregate Meal Program, he is our nutritionist that came on board a few months ago. And Ed Cho, our acting director of food and nutrition, negotiated this contract and worked with purchasing to get the costs of the meals to a place where we would be able to afford them throughout the year-long contract that we're required to do, as you rejected the last contract that was too costly.
Okay, any questions?
The last contract that was rejected, if you can refresh me, was that also Red Robin?
It was also Red Rabbit. It was for $14 a meal. We traditionally pay $5.60 a meal, which right now, based on the costs of staffing with the increased minimum wage, per hour. We would be cost sharing about 40% of the dollars at $5.60 a meal with the city. At $14 a meal, it would cost us over $1 million in addition to what we have currently in the bank. We just couldn't afford it.
So just so I have it correct, if you can just confirm or not, so we rejected it previously. It's gone
Yep.
out to bid twice.
Yep.
First time, no respondents. Second time, it was exorbitant. And then now you've negotiated a price that's cheaper than the first time that it came before the council, and basically saying that asking us for approval, asking the council for approval for the same vendor and
At a
large
price
part
that's
because the
much
price
less.
is better.
Correct.
But if I recall, the other issue, and correct me if I'm wrong, and there were issues with regard to the quality of the food, and I think Councilman Soleil had the line of the night for that one, something like that. It tasted what? How did it taste, Councilman?
I try to forget.
So there's several different programs that Red Rabbit runs, and a hot meal program is what we put out to bid versus a cold lunch that's required by the USDA to only cost $2. So at $2 of the USDA cost versus $8 for required soup and 1/3 RDA for an adult is rather different. The staff, I'm not on the review committee, but the staff and several seniors review the food along with the nutritionist. It was the only bidder. This is a really difficult program to run. We tried to run it with sustain and serve dollars. We were paying restaurants $10 a meal. Restaurants felt that that was too little. And, you know, there's got to be a balance between like the space of trying to hire people to run a program when we're not getting full funding for a program. So this program is not fully funded. This is funded in part by the county, and the rest of the money has to come from the city. And so prior partners, which you voted on last week, Whitson's, they offer to do cold meals. I think anyone that's visited in the last month, you know, you've probably heard they're tired of cold meals because that's all Whitson's capacity is. We've tried to bring in sandwiches from, I mean, at least 20 different local restaurants, and just like it's a daily grind for restaurants and the delivery and the 10 locations. And we've just been getting a lot of pushback. So nobody applied for the bid. This is one of the, you know, difficult recovery points for COVID. It's just like a lot more investment necessary in our local food system. I think some of the council sat today on some calls related to, you know, a better food system where we would, you know, cook our own food. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. We would work, you know, alongside JSUP, possibly a vocational high school in Bergen, Lafayette, to make our own meals, hire people locally, rather than have to go out to bid for these. It just takes a while to get there.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks.
Okay, Sean.
Okay. All right. I believe we got Samantha on the meeting now, so we'll defer back to items
Okay.
10.6 through 10.9. Samantha, are you there?
Good afternoon, council. Yes, I am.
I know Samantha was having, council members, I know Samantha was having some technical difficulties trying to sign in, so that's why I wanted to hold off because I did see that she accepted the invite. So without further ado, I'm going to let Samantha take the show.
Good afternoon, council. Resolutions 10.6 through 10.9. Are there any questions, clarifications?
Just explain them. Explain them. They want to know about the funding, where it go, that type of thing. Explain it.
Absolutely. So resolution 10.6 is for the fiscal year 2022 Community Service Block Grant. That is our annual block grant that comes from the Department of Community Affairs. This grant is particularly targeted for those that are under the federal poverty guideline of 125% or below. With this grant, we serve about approximately $900,000 or so $1,000 through various nonprofit organizations, including our Meals on Wheels program at this fund. So it is for meals, it is used for homeless outreach, it is used for youth services, and a variety of other programs that come out of our office. Resolution 10.6. Authorizing the execution of a mortgage subordination agreement for the property at 10 Breland Terrace. If there's a specific question regarding that resolution, but that's pretty standard for coming out of our office. Resolution 10.8 is to contract with Blue Track Inc. In order for us to make sure that the property owners that were eligible for the rent relief, or at least able to apply on behalf of the tenant program, we needed to send this out via postcard mail. So this is to pay for the mailer notification of our rent relief program that was previously distributed in August. And then the last resolution is for the grant agreement. It's just for us to accept the ERA 2 funds from Treasury. So Jersey City has received 2 allocations for Treasury funds.
Can I start at 10.6? This is
Yeah, go
Councilman.
ahead, Rolando.
So you said it was 900,000. I'm just trying to pull up the resolution right now, but can you just provide us with an itemized breakdown of the allocation of the dollars? There was nothing.
Yeah,
included.
so this is the 900 is an estimate that is really based on DCA and what they are able to award us. Because the federal government distributes it in several different allocations throughout the year, our first allocation is approximately 1/3 of whatever the total award would be. So for instance, and I can go down to the types of programs that are provided, but the actual dollar amount breakdown will be provided within the next month or so to council. So the types of services are, again, street outreach, breakfast services, jobs, nutrition, literacy programs, food insecurity, scholarships for after-school programs, financial literacy, basic needs programs, and job development training for youth.
All right.
Okay.
Someone else?
May I move to resolution 10.7? Just my question is this particular property involved in the 95.5 program?
I could actually look that up and get back to you, Council President, if I could forward your assistant that information once I can confirm that.
Sure. Just forward to this.
The next item, 10.8, the contract to Blue Track Inc. It was done via informal solicitation. Can you tell me, this particular vendor is from Bloomfield? Who was the other informal solicitation quote? Who did the quote come from? And were any local vendors or minority vendors solicited through this informal solicitation process.
Councilman, I would have to get back to you on that, as far as the procurement process for this particular. I know it was a rather expedited process, so I will get back to you as far as what the other vendors locally were, if there were any that were able to provide this service.
And this particular mailer notification is going to what, every household, or how's this being done?
Yes, sir. So this was for our August rent relief program that we wanted to make sure that every homeowner throughout the city was able to, was informed of the rent relief program that was being launched. And due to the trying to kind of expand the way we were promoting this program, we decided to do the good old fashioned snail mail.
And this is for the first round of funding, or is this for the second round of funding, which is the next resolution below
Sorry,
that?
yes, that was for the first round of funding.
And what's the status of that in terms of the deadline and the deadline for people to apply?
So that application was with that prioritization previously for the 2 to 4 unit owner occupied. We are currently still in the process for the second phase, which application closes October 18th. So the end of this week. October 18th, next week, Monday, which we will then be going into a lottery process.
So did this mailer already go out then? Because it's,
This mailer is from the first round. Yes, this went back out in August.
Oh, so this is not a future mailer. This is already for something paid for, already completed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then that brings us to 10.9.
Can I ask a question on 10.8?
Sure.
10.8, I know you said that we're going to go to the second round to the lottery process. Is that for all of the residents, all of the building owners? And is it possible that we do something for, the properties that are under rent control, not in rent control, but less than rent control, meaning 5 families and fewer, so we can try to protect the small people?
Anybody could apply, right?
Yeah, so with the Treasury Funds for the second round, with the, since we've already put in the application, or we have already released the application, I should say, Treasury requires that we have 2 prioritizations, and that is for 50% below and those who have been unemployed due to COVID 90+ days. So we can certainly, if it's something that, as far as adding an additional prioritization, I could speak with my director and the administration on seeing how we can kind of tailor that. But as far as putting it in for this current application process, I'm not sure if that's something we could do at this time, since it was not really publicized as such.
No, this for this next round, because I know once we do the lottery, we open it up to everyone in the city. I was just thinking if we could do, 4 or 5 units or less before we open up to the entire city, to, I guess, the mega developers.
Absolutely. I could certainly inquire and get back to you.
Hey, Sam, Carmen, I'm
Yes.
here. So in ERA 1, we attempted to do that in the prioritization with trying to get the smaller landlords in the first round. In this now second round that's coming up, it's kind of sort of opened up to the masses, is what Sam is trying to explain. So Councilman, ERA 2 that's coming, we definitely will work within the priorities of Treasury's framework, but ultimately we're going to need everyone's assistance to try to get this program underway. As you guys have read, we have an obligation to spend these dollars sooner rather than later. And so I think it's just important that we are able to expend these funds for ERA 1 by the end of the year. And then additionally, ERA 2, which has a little bit more flexibilities of spending deadlines.
I thought the ERA 1 deadline was much earlier than the end of the year. Is it?
Yeah, so I mean, the Treasury just issued guidance, I want to say last week on like our obligations to spend, but they are giving us more flexibility with Sam till February, but ultimately, we've got 2 funding programs kind of sort of back to back that we've got to spend.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, is there a report on kind of where we're at with the ERA 1 funding and how much has been spent and how much is remaining?
Sam, from 1, it was what, the 119 households, about 948,000? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry, you cut out during that.
So 119 households.
Mhm.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
about
we can hear you.
948,149. So about $949,000 have been spent from ERA 1.
So, look, I know it's been reported on in the press, but 940,000 spent to date and over $7 million. The funds were first approved in March of 2021. I mean, it begs the question of like what. Look, I know it's been reported in the press that there was the focus on owner-occupied properties and so forth. But even inside of that focus, like, why are we here and not have spent more of this money at this point? Like, do we have a grasp on that at this point?
So if you can recall, the beginning of the year, we rolled out our rent relief program with Cdbg. So our Cdbg the first round, our partnerships were with our nonprofits. When the first quarter of the year, when we decided to go back to our nonprofits to help deploy it, they were overextended and could not continue to carry out the program. In the city's first attempt to issue out rent relief, we had over 1,600 households that were approved in theory with our rent relief. Treasury came in and said, hey, Jersey City, here's another rent relief program, deploy it out. We've contracted with the Housing Authority to do this program. And so we prioritize the ability to try to get smaller landlords like Councilman Robinson alluded to. Like, how do we work with smaller landlords to deploy this program out? We got applicants in the first round. We quickly deployed this next application round, where we are currently underway. And currently the division is working on a funding analysis to hopefully have all this funding kind of sort of spent from ERA 2. So understand that the division is really running not just Treasury funding, but 2 federal funding sources dedicated to rent relief year to date.
So the Housing Authority was running the ERA 1, right? Is that?
Yep.
And I mean, do they have the capacity to handle the distribution of these dollars? And if not, I think should we be looking to, and I believe, and if memory serves me, that some of the earlier relief money was done with various nonprofits, as you mentioned, I think, from PACO to was it Women Rising, or I forget who it was, and another organization as well. Why are we not utilizing them? Or even, as I understand it, the county has done a pretty good job of getting the dollars out and partnering with them, if they have the capacity and ability to make this turn this around. We don't want to lose these dollars, right?
We're not going to lose the dollars. We're currently, so the Treasury just recently defined for us their term for obligation. So we've got a plan that we're writing in place so that we will not lose this funding. I think the second round, opening it up, will allow for quicker spending. And to the other piece, where it's going back to our partnerships with our nonprofits, we asked. And at the time, you have to understand that the time frame of recovery and where we were with COVID and being a high impact city, like our plan was to go work with our nonprofit partners, but taking on a bigger program, they were already, each of them had 400 households in March and April trying to draw down on these funds. The Housing Authority does have the capacity, as they are the experts in running rent relief programs. And to your point about the county, last year, community development and the city's community development tried to coordinate a coordinated application. community development, both agencies were going to do it together. Unfortunately, the federal government came in and gave Treasury dollars to our county peers, and they had to start their program much earlier. So we were working and trying to coordinate with them. They launched their program before we did. We had to go on a different timeline, so we went on separate systems, but we worked very closely and hand in hand with the county. They were able to develop their program, their software development, and their application portals as we were trying to attempt to do that as well.
I mean, couldn't we just take, in talking to the county, if they've got kind of unmet needs there or for Jersey City residents, couldn't we just address their client list at that point, or whoever's the applicant list that they have for Jersey City?
We do. I mean, we share, I've been working with our county peers for years. We share our information and their information, but understand that the county has their own funding sources. And Jersey City is a much larger municipality at times when it comes to comparison to the county and what our needs are. So this is why our federal funding tranches are separate.
Okay.
Okay, someone else? Go ahead.
Just my final two things here. So you mentioned that the federal guidelines were more recently released or clarified. If I could get a copy of that, I don't know how voluminous that is, but as to what the guidelines are and what they're requiring us to do at this point. And then secondly, if you can just answer, is all of this strictly these dollars restricted to residential rental assistance as opposed to commercial business retail rental assistance or other needs related, COVID related needs that people may have?
ERA is emergency rental assistance. That's Treasury's designation for rent relief.
So I'm having a hard time hearing you, Carmen.
Sorry, I'm having audio issues. ERA stands for Emergency Rental Assistance. So the funding sources that's being administered through community development are specific to that. Commercial, small business would be a different source, but ERA is Emergency Rental Assistance.
Okay.
So commercial does not qualify. Is that what you said?
No.
Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carmen and Samantha.
Thank you.
Alrighty. On to our next resolution, item 10.11, resolution 21-700. It's a resolution authorizing a modified agreement with Community Food Bank of New Jersey for New Jersey SNAP Ed nutrition and fitness education programming.
So you saw a resolution at the last meeting. We made a few edits to this memorandum of understanding, primarily related to the use of foods that are high allergens, and responsibility and the double indemnification. And so this is for the work that we do with our Aero Farms and our Healthy Corner Store efforts, along with any additional support at the farmers markets.
Okay, any questions? All right. Thank you, Stace. Go ahead, Sean.
I think she has a couple more actually.
Yeah, okay.
10.12, resolution 21-701 is a resolution ratifying the award of emergency contract to Winston's Food Service for the purchase and delivery of box lunches for seniors at Congregate senior sites due to coronavirus for the Department of Health and Human Services.
Yes, so this is what I was just speaking to you about, the extension of food that we hopefully by October 18th will transition to Red Rabbit with your approval. this box lunch from Whitson's is a salad and a sandwich, and then milk or juice. And we want to move back to warm meals.
Any questions or comments on? Okay, item 10.13, resolution 21-702 is a resolution authorizing contracts with various vendors for the delivery of substance abuse prevention and education programs to the Department of Health and Human Services through the Municipal Drug Alliance program.
Yeah, this is our final year of a 5-year plan with the county's Municipal Drug Alliance funds that come from the Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. Councilman Lavaro is the chair of this Municipal Drug Alliance. We have on the alliance several members of the community, along with non-voting members of the individuals that we provide grants to. We lost significant money last year during COVID because the funding for this program comes directly from DUI cases, and because of lack of people going out and the lack of driving impacted funds for the Municipal Drug Alliance, but these are the same grantees from the last 4 years. So, do you have the list in front of you? Do you need me to?
Any council members have any questions?
Director, do we reapply after this year? You said just the
Yeah,
last year,
so
right?
every 5 years, we've actually had this program for about 30 years. Every 5 years, we put in a new large scope plan with the ability to change out partners. There's some partners that are no longer doing this work. There's some partners that don't get approvals for this work. And it changed a lot over the last 5 years with new leadership at the state. So over the last 5 years, the focus has been alcohol use and abuse. And I think, depending on where the Municipal Drug Alliance team wants to take it, it could expand to others, or it could be more modified in its work.
Any additional question? Okay,
That's
thank you, Director. Okay, item 10.14, resolution 21-703 is a resolution supplementing the manual of loading zone designations for the city of Jersey City, designating a loading zone in front of 154 Danforth Avenue, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Hey, Sean, this is John. So I spoke with Councilwoman Ridley, and we're going to just hold on to this one till the next meeting. She's still working with the community on some feedback on this.
Okay, so we're going to withdraw this one. John, we're going to withdraw this one.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yes, we're going to withdraw this one and we'll reconsider for the next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Next is item 10.15, resolution 21-704. Is a resolution supplementing the manual of loading zone designations of the city of Jersey City, designating a loading zone along Academy Street, frontage of 885 Bergen Avenue, Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Any questions or comments on this ordinance, resolution? Okay, hearing none.
Do they put up a sign, like, let's say you put up loading zone, do you guys end up putting up a sign and then you put like paint on in the street, or what's the protocol? Because I do get inquiries about that in the Heights, but
Okay.
you know.
I believe Andrew Vicio is on the call. Andrew?
That's correct, Councilman. In this case, it's an existing loading zone that already has signage placed. This resolution would amend the start time to begin at 6 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. to accommodate the Central Square supermarket. But to address your more general question, yes, it's signage that's installed.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Any other questions? All right, item 10.16, resolution 21-705. Resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City's Division of Engineering, Traffic and Transportation to apply for the New Jersey Department of Transportation's 2022 Safe Routes to School Program Grant.
Did you say that was 1017 or no, 1016? Okay.
10.16, sorry. If I did say 17, I apologize. It's 10.16.
So can someone just provide me, what's the stretch here of Bergen Avenue that's applicable? And
So this is within about a half mile of PS 17, PS 12, and Lincoln High School. So Bergen Avenue, roughly between Harrison Avenue and Fairview Avenue. Not necessarily the entire stretch, but spot sidewalk improvements, signage improvements is what we are applying for. The purpose of this resolution is to get permission from the council to apply for this grant, in which there is no city match.
no city match. Okay. And can you provide me with the, I assume there's you're applying for the grant, an executive summary, as well as the proposed budget, and how that will be spent?
Yes, we certainly can. We're wrapping up the application now, and we'll send you the full copy. We'll send the council the full copy of the application once it's prepared.
Right. And then my last question on this is, as part of the Vision Zero plan, if my memory serves me, is that there were going to be, I believe it was 3 sites with schools that we would do pilots of some sort to determine best ways to have traffic circulation there for pickups and drop-offs and other related to school and traffic issues and pedestrian safety issues there. Can you give me a sense of where that is, and does this fit into that scheme of things there?
Yeah, so we've been handling those on a case-by-case basis when we're approached by schools or council persons for specific schools for like loading zones and pickup drop-off areas. We haven't necessarily proactively reached out to those schools, but we have, in the instance of, let's say, for example, the new school that's opening near the Columbus Drive, Washington Street intersection, established pickup drop-off areas. So we've been doing it on a case-by-case basis when those entities have reached out to us.
Got it. Thank you, Andrew.
Go ahead, Sean.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Andrew. On to our next item 10.17. This is actually 10.17. Resolution 21-706 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Foley Power Systems for the purchase and delivery of various Caterpillar loaders and wheel loaders through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative for the Department of Public Works Division of Automotive.
John, can I just get the balance on this capital account and yeah, the balance on it? Great,
Yeah, absolutely, Councilman.
thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Item 10.18, Resolution 21-707 is a resolution authorizing the award of contracts for the purchase and delivery of 2022 Ford F-250 4x4 vehicles through the Sourcewell, Purchasing Cooperative for the Department of Public Works Division of Automotive. We do have our Director of Kears here for the Department of Public Works on the call if there's any questions.
Director, this is for the Meals on Wheels program?
Yes, they are, Councilman.
So it's these are 4x4 trucks, and then with the refrigerated units on the back. Is that the way?
Yeah, it's a food transport vehicle. Obviously, the ones that we have are up there in age. You know, the mechanical problems and issues with them. We actually had to go out and rent a few to replace the older ones. This will be a call for 4 vehicles, 4x4s, obviously for inclement weather, and they'll be set to transport food as necessary for the Meals on Wheels program.
Are these vehicles electric?
No, they are not.
Any other questions? Alrighty, item 10.19, resolution 21-708 is a resolution authorizing a shared service agreement with Jersey City Redevelopment Agency, authorizing it to obtain gasoline and diesel fuel for its vehicles at the city's public works facility.
Council, this is a continuation of, an annual shared service agreement we have with the organization as well as the schools. We buy the gasoline in bulk, the tax associated to it, and they reimburse us for usage based on the gas rings that are installed in the vehicles.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Item 10.20, Resolution 21-709 is a resolution authorizing the renewal of an open-ended contract with Ascape Landscape and Construction Corp. For the maintenance irrigation system at numerous city-owned facilities for the Department of Public Works Division of Park Maintenance. Okay, item 10.21, Resolution 21-710 is a resolution authorizing a license agreement with Brian Lopez, allowing the city of Jersey City to enter property owned by Brian Lopez to make emergency repairs of the brick of the firehouse at 13 Linden Avenue.
Sean, just for clarity, I believe this one and the next, the 2 associated resolutions are all the same with the adjacent property owners, so we could discuss all 3 at once. And we do have Mr. Weller available if there's any questions.
Yep, thanks, John. So that would be item 10.22, resolution 21-711, and 10.23, resolution 21-712.
So
Sean.
I have a question. With these, do we know how long it's going to take, I guess, once we get these sign-offs? Do we know we're definitely going to get sign-offs from these property owners? And then if we already have their approval and it's just paperwork, do we know how long it's going to take? Because I know the scaffolding has been up there probably a year at this point, at least.
Yes, Councilwoman, we do know that it will happen imminently. It's an emergency. The conditions that were uncovered. We have preliminarily spoken to the property owners and nobody was taking any exceptions. So it's sort of a formality right now.
Any other questions for Mr. Weller? Okay. Thank you, Brian.
No problem. Thank you.
Great. On to item 10.24. Resolution 21-713 is a resolution of the City of Jersey City authorizing community benefits agreement with LMC Laurel Saddlewood Holdings LLC in connection with the redevelopment of property identified as Block 11501, lots 1 to 39, commonly known as 1 to 115 Laurel Court, 2 to 20 Laurel Court, 1 to 19 Saddlewood Court, 2 to 20 Saddlewood Court, and 384 Manila Avenue within the Laurel Saddlewood redevelopment area.
Are we opening up for questions or?
Yes.
I assume I saw Miss Jeffrey here. Is that Diana? You're going to be great. So Miss Jeffrey, there's currently a redevelopers agreement. Is that correct? Is that correct?
There's a redevelopment agreement. There was a First Amendment that extended it. And what you should all know up front is that everything that's contained in the redevelopment agreement, the number of units, the percentage of affordable housing, the requirement to enter into the community benefits agreement for the purpose of building a school was all laid out in the redevelopment plan. So the RDA and this community benefits agreement simply tracks what's already in the plan. And the JCRA, as the redevelopment arm of the city, is tasked with carrying this out, seeing that these obligations are carried out. So we had very little discretion in negotiating this. The redevelopment plan was discussed and negotiated for a very long time. So these are very considered amendments and benefits for the city.
So what distinguishes the CBA from the RDA?
Well, they're two separate agreements. One is what distinguishes it. I guess I'm trying to, well, you know, tell me a little bit more about exactly what you're asking, because there's
so
the CBA.
We memorialize these covenants with these developers and the RDAs. I don't recall the last time a community benefits agreement has come before the city council for approval. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out why this CBA is for this particular project is here as opposed to any number of other projects that have come before the council that have certain covenants that are written into the redevelopment plan or obligations for the developer. I'm having a hard time hearing if
someone else is asking a question or someone talking. So your question, if I understand it, is that you want to know why is there this community benefits agreement in the first place? Because this is something that you haven't really seen before. Did I get
right?
That?
Yeah, normally these have been covered inside of an RDA or requiring the developer to honor their commitments around that. I believe I've seen things at the planning board level as well, some sort of agreements there, but that probably predated me as a councilman, and I've kind of run into that stuff as they've come as issues maybe arose with those type of agreements. But so I'm just trying to understand the distinction between what the RDA is doing here, what the CBA is doing differently from the RDA.
So the RDA is a comprehensive document that includes all of the obligations of the redeveloper under the plan, including the inclusion of 41 units of workforce housing and of the obligation to build a school. But the CBA flushes out in more detail the agreement between the developer and the city regarding what the school, the elements of the school can contain. I mean, essentially, this is I guess it's an extra added protective measure for the city to guarantee that they're going to get the benefit that they wanted from the developer. It also adds penalties that only the city can enforce, and it allows the city to enforce the default should they not build the school. So it's just, I guess it just, it's like an added oomph to the agreement or to the obligations with the developer. Gives the city the ability to enforce as well as the JPRA.
So I say this respectfully, just, you know, the RDA itself, and thank you for sending me, I requested a copy this morning, and I have the copy of it here, and it's a 69-page document versus this like 5-page document. So it's far more detailed, and I haven't had an opportunity to review the RDA at this point, but but it enumerates and details, I would assume more in greater detail, the covenant and the agreements and the obligations of the developer to the city, to the redevelopment agency around this. And so that's why I'm still just kind of a little perplexed, because the sections of the language of the community benefits are very vaguely kind of worded. I mean, they're very short and small, and I haven't read the RDA to see if they've addressed those specific community benefits within the RDA itself, but with even more detail or not. And then the one thing I do want to point out is, and again, not having seen the RDA, if one looks at the redevelopment plan, there's a section about the open space, and the open space plaza indicates that there's a that the construction of the open space will be coordinated with the Philippine Plaza Commission. There's no reference of that in the CBA, and I don't know if it's referenced in the RDA as well, but I think for me that would be vitally important. You know, I'm not thrilled with the zoning as it was established, but one of the things that I did say at the time was that you know, the preservation of that Philippine Plaza and the cultural and historical significance of that be preserved and enhanced with this development. And while there's a reference to the land as in its nomenclature by referring to the lot and block as Philippine Plaza, it doesn't say, it doesn't reference any of that per se, or even make a reference to the references of the Philippine Plaza Commission being involved in the coordination of that open plaza.
So what I think you're saying is that you received the RDA today. It's a rather lengthy document. You haven't been able to fully read and digest all 69 pages, which is understandable. You have concerns that the open space plaza may not be sufficiently fleshed out in the CBA, and you want some assurances that there's adequate protection in either the RDA, the plan, or the CBA. Is that right?
That's spot on.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we can do, because it's, you know, this is the caucus, and certainly you should be able to have a chance to read it. What I can do is look through it and kind of maybe even give you a like look at page this, look at page that, so that you're not having to read all 69 pages, which is pretty. A lot of it is the standard language that you're used to seeing in an RDA. So would that help you? We just gave you like cliff notes?
That would be helpful.
Go to page.
While we're doing the cliff notes version of that and providing me that, I would also like to just know in terms of the RDA, the language around, again, the hiring and the contracting, which there's a couple of short paragraphs in the CBA, and I'm wondering if it's more fleshed out, particularly as it pertains to, I'm glad that there's the references to the service workers and 32BJ and so forth, and the agreement around that, but also wondering about the construction jobs and so forth, and kind of the PICA requirement out there, which talks about it in the agreement as a in the CBA as a good faith effort, as opposed to any sort of mandatory requirement, both for contracting as well as hiring of minority women workers and vendor and contracts, but also union work as
Sure.
well in that regard.
We move on.
So what I can do is do a summary of that for you, all of you, on not just the open space obligation, but also the hiring regard, and then provide that to you tomorrow, so you have it.
Yeah. Diane, just send it all to Desiree and she'll make sure every council person have one.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
Okay, you don't have to worry about it. Just send it to Des and she'll make sure we all receive it.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Council President, one
Yeah.
last item as it pertains to the affordable housing commitment. It's, as I expressed back in November 2020, I'm not satisfied with the idea of kind of workforce housing around this, but given that that's what's passed and that's what's being to be enforced, will there still be an affordable housing agreement separate and distinct from this CBA that would be enforceable under the Division of Affordable Housing Enforcement?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, there is an obligation to enter into an affordable housing agreement separate and apart from the CBA and the RDA.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, Diane.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, item 10.25, Resolution 21-714 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the City of Jersey City and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 68. Any questions or comments on this resolution? Okay. Item
Sorry,
10.
we do
Go
have
ahead.
questions. Sorry about that. In 10.25, there's a reference to allowing for spouses and others onto their medical plans, or I think it is, I don't have it in front of me right now, but was that not previously afforded to our employees? It says it kind of added them so that they can allow them to add them to their plans. Could someone clarify that for me?
Sure. Rolando, Scott Carbone here from HR to speak on that. So what you're talking about is a provision where we allowed the employee to add on one dependent for free to the prescription side of the healthcare coverage. The employee and dependents on the medical side have always been covered, but on the prescription side, it was only for the employee, and then they had the option to add on a spouse, a partner, a dependent at a particular price that the more dependents they added on, that price would go down and down. And now we've basically cleared the way for them to have a first dependent on there at no additional cost to them.
Okay, so it's not, so they always had that right? It's just changing the cost structure. Is that how I understand that?
So we're talking again only about prescription coverage. That coverage has always been available to them. I guess to agree with you, we're reducing the cost to add on family members and dependents.
Is there a financial analysis of this and the number of members who are going to be affected by this?
So this union has 4 employees in it. The cost will be not significant for this particular union. Previous to this, if you ratify it, the cost was $88 for the first monthly, I believe, for the first dependent, and then $44 for each additional dependent. So provided that all 4 employees enroll one of their dependents in the prescription coverage, you get my math right here, maybe $350 a month.
How much was that? $350 a month?
Yeah, total for all 4 employees as a cost to the city. Okay. The cost savings to the employee would be, $88 a month to add the dependent on. and then additional costs if they had more dependents.
I'm sorry, what I meant is the overall cost of the contract amendments. So the salary increases as well and everything else. Do we have the financial analysis around all of it?
I don't, perhaps John Metro could speak to that. Again, there were only 4 employees. The raises and overall benefits were on par with that of the Supervisors Association.
Yeah, Councilman, we have one for the Supervisors Association, so I'll be able to provide the same information for this one as well. I'll just circulate it tomorrow. As Scott said, it's only for the 4 employees, so it'll just be the aggregate of those 4.
The section that deletes the tool allowance, is that just what was that? Was that a stipend of some sort for tools?
Yes, correct. We had a tool allowance and a boot allowance. We have it in a lot of the other contracts as well for the employees who need those, those kind of shoes and tools and things like that. And what they had proposed to us was that, they didn't really feel that they needed to replace their boots. They had all the tools that they needed. So they asked if we could, if they could give that up, and basically we could put that money towards salary for them, which was agreeable to us.
Okay. Okay. Do me a favor, close that. I can hardly see the light. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Sean.
All right. On to item 10.26, Resolution 21-715 is a resolution, First Amendment to a professional service agreement with Cleary, Jacoby, Alfieri, and Jacobs LLC to represent former Mayor Jeremiah Healy and the City of Jersey City in the matter of Valerie Montone versus John Astrab versus the City of Jersey City.
Yeah, this matter is fully resolved. The contract is being extended for an amount of $25,000 to cover some outstanding expenses that exceeded what we previously contracted for. There'll be no further amendments on this one or further contracts on this one. This one's complete.
Where's this law firm from?
They are, I'm not sure where their main office is. I believe they are somewhere in Bergen County.
Could you let me know where?
I'm sorry, I took that back. Matawan.
Matawan. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Next, item 10.27, Resolution 21-716 is a resolution authorizing a bulk water agreement allowing the Jersey City Municipal Utilities Authority to sell and deliver water from the city's water system to the township of Parsippany Troy Hills. Council members on the call, we have John Folk from the MUA and LaKendrick Shaw from the MUA to answer any questions on this resolution.
Okay, guys, questions?
What's going on here?
John, if you wouldn't mind giving a little overview for the city council.
Sure. All right. Excuse me. Good afternoon. The city owns the water system, and the MUA operates the system pursuant to our franchise agreement. And since the city owns the system, we need the city to approve the sale of bulk water. We have excess water at the reservoir and at our treatment plant, and we're just asking that you approve the sale of this bulk water.
This is Councilman Solomon. How much excess water do we have, and how do we just measure it to make sure we're not, we don't need it as a city?
Well, there's the water treatment plant can produce 50 million gallons a day, and the city uses about 30 million, and we sell to other people. I thought it was going to be on the meeting tonight for the city of Hoboken and also Suez, but the city, we sell about 10 million gallons there. So we have about an extra 10 million gallons a day available to sell. Now, generally, now the city's growing, so most people would think, or anyone would think, hey, we may need more water. But the new development is using much less water than the old properties. So the developments are using low flow plumbing, and so the water is not. We don't expect over the next 20 years or so to have more water, much more water being used. And the DEP requires us to do calculations, and this is it within our safe yield.
Got it. Thank you.
What happens during a drought?
Is that, it says it expires December 31st, 2030. Can we make it, like, why is the term that long? What happens if climate change gets worse and the situation gets exacerbated?
Well, that's, we made 10 years goes by rather quickly. We have in the past also done 5 years, but I'm not sure exactly why we came up with 10 years. Except, Parsippany, would say they would want to, make sure they have water for 10 years. There may be like legal requirements, like if they want to build some new properties out there, that they have to ensure they have water available. So I believe that was the main purpose.
Where are the profits from the water being sold going to? Who's it going to, and what are we what are we using it for?
The money, right? The money comes here. It comes to the MUA, and it's general revenue, and then we use it as general revenue. So it basically offsets or lowers the price that we would have to charge Jersey City users. I mean, pretty much, if we don't sell this water, it's pretty much like water over the falls. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat like found money.
Is there a contingency plan or a clause in the contract that allows us to terminate it in the event that we don't have enough water for our residents?
So if we go into a drought condition, let's say that New Jersey went into a drought condition, which that would pretty much be the only time that this would affect us. But if we're in a drought condition, the DEP takes over and they tell us who to give water to. So, like, let's say we don't agree on this, we don't want to award this contract, and then we go into a drought. The DEP wants New Jersey to go dry equally. So whoever has water has to give it, and they can't sell it. They have to give it to any town that doesn't have water in a drought condition.
Is there any discernible benefit to Jersey City to doing this other than just being a good fellow municipality?
No, the money. We're able to, it brings in more revenues. Mm-hmm.
How much do you expect from the sale?
This is about $2 million.
Annually?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll cede the floor.
All right, any more
I
questions?
I have a question, a burning question here. Can you let us know where things are at with the refund and credit for the trash collection fee? We were promised, or the Jersey City residents were promised a refund on that trash collection fee. We're told not to pay to continue paying that. And to my knowledge, not one refund or credit has been issued. And when we've inquired with the administration, they've kind of said that, pointed the finger at MUA and said, that's on them. So you're on the hot seat now. So
Okay, well, I certainly, but that's a work in progress. And the final, the final answer, I don't believe, we don't have a final answer yet. So, basically, there was discussion about a refund or having a maximum charge per household.
So there is not a
But
commitment to a refund?
concluded. We have not concluded. It has not been concluded on what exactly the like, let's say what the refund would be. Are you're referring to a complete refund, or I'm not sure
It
what
was suggested it was stated by Mayor Fulop that people would get credits on their bills and their
Well,
solid waste collection
right.
fee. So
Yeah, correct. So in discussions here, although there is no final, there is no final conclusion. Like especially if you receive, I'll use the term, a very large solid waste bill, there's some refunds should be coming. But I'm not the person right in the middle of it. And I know there's been a lot of discussion in trying to have an equitable solution.
Mr. Shaw, are you in the middle of this?
No, I'm not, Councilman. That would be under the executive director purview.
All right. I appreciate your honesty on that.
No problem.
Okay, then.
One question, if we can limit the term of the contract to 4 or 5 years, would that be possible? I don't know how comfortable I am with the years.
It could be taken up. Would it be possible?
Councilman, John, ask the question. You can go back and ask the question and see, because sometimes,
yes, I can.
It might be contingent on 10 years versus 5, whatever. So find out, then just let us know. That's it. Let's move on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Prez, I have one quick question. I don't know if it's a quick answer, but can the money that we sell the water for be set aside for infrastructure?
Well, in terms of setting aside for infrastructure, we spend more now through capital projects than the total of our bulk water. So, it's probably more, right now interest rates are really, really low, and it's probably more prudent to finance infrastructure projects. So, but we're doing, hundreds of millions of dollars of projects in water and sewer. The 2 million, the 2 million would go to pay the debt service of those projects.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Take care, Council.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, item 10.28, resolution 21-717. It's a resolution renewing professional service agreement with Cleary, Jacob E. Alfieri, Jacobs LLC to represent police officer Edward Rivera in the matter of Sabrina Pagan, Maria Obeleris versus, Officer Edward Rivera.
What's the status of this case?
This case is still in discovery. I believe we have completed fact discovery. I believe we have expert discovery still to be completed. But again, I'll repeat what it's been going on with COVID and the slowing down of the court systems and everything else. But this matter is still progressing, still in the discovery phase.
Great. And I just have a note here. This is more to Mr. Metro. That I noticed on all these resolutions and contracts that John Sucre is the CFO. I believe the CFO, and as we approach down to the end of this, is to be appointed by the administration. I mean, by the mayor with the advice and consent of the city council. I don't believe we've seen that appointment. Is this a temporary appointment, or what's the status of that?
I'll do an inquiry with the administration council to see what the effective date on that was and make sure we get the resolution passed or presented rather.
Thank
we
you.
did a 90-day appointment. I believe it was in September, but I'll get you the actual dates.
Did the council get notice of that appointment?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Councilman.
Did the council receive notice of that appointment, that temporary appointment?
Yeah, we spoke about it in the communications, the previous meeting, but I'll double check.
Okay.
It would be in a part of the report of directors. That would be item 8.
Mhm.
Sean, can you track that down for us? If that
Yes.
communication? Thank you.
Will do. And I'll email it to all the council members. Item 10.29, Resolution 21-718 is a resolution amending the award of professional service agreement with Cleary, Jacoby, Alfieri, Jacobs, LLC to represent Mayor Stephen Fulop and the City of Jersey City in the matter of Athena Ogaro versus the City of Jersey City.
Okay.
Any questions? Right. Item 10.30, Resolution 21-719 is a resolution renewing the award of professional service agreement with O'Fruzy, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy, PC, to represent Police Officer Robert Sussward in the matter of Kelly Chelser versus the City of Jersey City. Item 10.31, Resolution 21-720 is a resolution awarding a renewal of professional service agreement with Brady Greenan LLC to represent Chief of Police Philip Zaki in the matter of Kelly Chesler versus the City of Jersey City. And item 10.
I'm sorry, just all of the Kelly Chesler, Joseph Ascalese lawsuits. I believe you mentioned that in a previous one that it was, no, that was Valerie. What's the status here for all of these lawsuits? Are they kind of concurrent and going together, or are they?
Yeah, sure, Councilman. Items 10, 30, 31, 32, 33 on the agenda, that is all one litigation. We had to appoint different counsel for different parties because the plaintiffs had a kind of kitchen sink approach to naming individuals here who needed individual separate, a number of them needed separate counsel. The matter, it is still in discovery. This was, as you'll recall, this was an older matter that got restored to the active trial calendar. And again, like I said, still in discovery. It's continuing. If there are any notable updates, I can bring that to the attention of the council.
Okay.
Okay, item 10.32, Resolution 21-721 is a resolution renewing professional service agreement with Brock Elcher LLC to represent Director of Public Safety James Shea in the matter of Kelly Chesler versus the City of Jersey City. Item 10.33, Resolution 21-722 is a resolution renewing the award of professional service agreement with Hunt, Hamlin, and Ridley to represent Deputy Chief Joseph Connors, Lieutenant Terrence Crowley, and Police Officer John Peters in the matter of Kelly Chelser versus the City of Jersey City. 10.30.
I'll just jump in again.
Sure.
So Peter, just the whole Kelly Chester thing, it was resolved at one point, or am I mistaken that, or there was some settlement and then this is a continuation of some other suits? If you just refresh me on this.
Sure. This was a complaint that was filed previously to, you'll recall there was a criminal action that was dismissed by the prosecutor's office. These matters were stayed during the course of that criminal action, and this was restored upon the dismissal of that complaint. So it's a slightly older case, but nevertheless, it has been restored. I believe the matters that you were talking about were a counsel fee claim that were filed based on the criminal action, where the officers in question were entitled to reimbursement of those counsel fees. And the settlements that came forth from that were part of our obligation to that part. So this is separate and apart from those matters.
Okay. Could we get a summary of the cost to date for all the related representations in this case?
Yeah.
Thanks. I yield the rest of my time.
Item 10.34, Resolution 21-723 is a resolution appointing Chanel Robinson as a member of the Jersey City Insurance Fund Commission.
Council members, this is a replacement for the exiting Nick Strausser.
Thank you, John. Item 10.35, Resolution 21-724 is a resolution of the City of Jersey City authorizing an agreement pursuant to the Uniform Shared Service and Consolidation Act, NJSA 48:65-1 exec, with the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency for demolition and other services for the property identified as Block 9501, Lot 22, commonly known as 84 Sip Avenue, 25 Patside, 25 Journal Square, within the Journal Square 2060 redevelopment area.
Council members, this is a resolution authorizing a shared service between the city and the JCRA for some demolition work that's being done at the Patside building. We are utilizing our agreement with the union trades to do some demolition work there. It's more cost efficient than bringing a third party that we were quoted for. So we're just unifying that through the shared service agreement.
John, what's the demolition for? Why are we, what are we doing?
So the demolition, Councilman, is inside the building. There's still some internal walls that were associated with the crack that were in that building. So we're just consolidating that. And a new fire suppressant system has to go in. So we're going to remove the old one.
So since we're doing the work ourselves as a city, then through the contracts that we have with the union, this is coming out of our operating budget as opposed to capital dollars. Is that accurate?
No, Councilman. So we're going to still utilize the funds that were set aside for the demolition through the capital project. It's just that we're allowed to do so at a smaller cost by doing it this way. So we would remit payments to the unions as if they were a contractor.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Item 10.36, Resolution 21-725 is a resolution authorizing the award of competitively bid contract to Schneider Electric Buildings Americas, Inc. to design and manage the construction of improvements described in the energy savings plan prepared by Schneider for the City of Jersey City.
Thank you, Sean. So this is the ESIP program that the council and the administration have been working on, first through funding and then the third party review. And this is the final piece of contracting with Schneider to oversee the projects. This is a firm that hired former Mayor Dawn Zimmer to oversee the projects for us and to make sure that the deliverables are done on time and that we realize the energy savings for the projects.
Alrighty, and for the last three items, 10.37 through 10.39, resolutions 21-726, 727, 728 are all reappointments for extending the appointments as acting director for Department of Finance, that's Carmen Gandula, acting director for the Department of Public Works, W. Greg Kearse, and the appointment of John Metro as acting business administrator.
I think John Metro should be permanently assigned.
Sorry, Council, some fire trucks behind us. Thank you, Sean. These three resolutions will now, we'll bring.
Fire trucks.
Let those fire trucks pass, John.
Right.
Sometimes I think it's on purpose. Okay, so these three items are to extend the acting directorships of the three aforementioned directors, and they will expire on December 31st with the term of each of the memberships, and then the council will reconsider either a new acting or permanent position effective the first business day of next year.
So my request is, as I've raised this question repeatedly about the appointments as in an acting capacity, the law says that it's 90 days that the mayor can appoint an acting director for 90 days. And then after that period, either appoints a permanent or can continue to appoint an acting director with the advice and consent of the council. These appointments come, I say this respectfully, I have respect for all of the three people being appointed here, but they come well over a year from the original appointment, except for maybe Director Gandula in that respect. So my request is that the resolution be updated, whereas the third whereas should indicate whereas on an indicated date that the mayor has advised the council by letter is appointed, so that it's memorialized as to the date as to when the initial appointment, acting appointment was made and included in that resolution. And while I know that we want to suggest that now we're at the end of the term, and so forth, and that there'll be elections and so forth, and there'll be appointments for the new mayor, for the directors at that point, and maybe it's all of the three of you, or maybe it's someone else at that point, and depending on how those elections turn out, I guess. The precedent here, I think, is a bad one, right? The precedent being that the mayor is basically ignoring the law on this in making late appointments. And for folks who are watching this out there in the public, the idea of appointing permanent directors is that it allows for those directors to also have a certain amount of job security and not being able to have to worry, because as an acting appointment, you are basically serving at will for the mayor, and there is no just cause terminations. If one is appointed as a permanent basis, then that appointment, while the mayor could still make a termination, there are certain protections that allow for the council to then overturn that termination if they felt it was unjust in that regard. And so I would ask and respectfully ask that the resolutions, each of the resolutions, be updated to reflect the date at which the mayor initial appointment happened, which would occur in that third whereas, and to just insert the date when that happens, so that that's memorialized, because this should not happen again. It's I know that the members of the council feel that that the people who are being serving in this active capacity are deserving of their appointment and so forth, but we should be observing our own rules and our laws, because it's this kind of kind of disregard of the law that then perpetuates the disregard of the law for a lot of other things as well. So that's my request, and I'd ask the administration to update those resolutions accordingly.
Councilman, I'll make sure the dates are added in the third whereas clause before Thursday.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no further questions with any of
Sorry.
those.
I don't know if this was covered, but how do we make these appointments permanent or, you know?
January.
Say that over?
January.
Oh, January, sorry. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and just for the record, and just to clarify, Councilman Saleh, that it's not the timing. Permanent directors can be appointed at any time, right? It's at this point, it's going to be in January because we're at the end of the year, and these appointments, these acting appointments, will basically carry us through to the end of the year. At that point, election will be completed on November 2nd, and then there'll be a new count. There'll be a council people either elected or new council people elected or re-elected, and there'll be a mayor either elected or re-elected, and there'll be appointments as a result. But these appointments could have occurred at any period in time. It's not a January thing, just to clarify for the record.
Thank you.
Yield the rest of my time.
Okay, with that being said, if there's no other further questions, may I have a motion to adjourn at 6 p.m.?
Motion.
I'm going to give that motion to Councilperson Solomon, and I'll give the quick second to Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to adjourn at 6 p.m., all council members present by acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
We are out of here at 6 p.m. Thank you so much, Council President, members of the Municipal Council, members of the staff, all the professionals, directors, division directors. Thank you so much for your cooperation. And I know we had some technical difficulties signing in, but hopefully we won't have that on Thursday. And remember, as I always said, teamwork makes the dream work. Stay safe, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.